Hi everyone, this is Silver casting a Protoss versus Zerg match on the North American servers. Now I believe these two are in gold. And introducing the players, on the west side of the screen we have Zorak representing the Protoss, and in the north quadrant of the map we have Clutch. Now I'm not sure what's going to happen here, as this is a typical Protoss versus Zerg matchup, but with the addition of Sc2, Zerg has been having a lot of troubles dealing with it in the late game. I've seen a lot of complaints on the forums, so we'll see if Zorak decides to go that route. Now, this is probably just a standard economic opener on this map, Core Hall City, considering the natural is in your base, so it's very advisable to get off an early expansion, considering it's very easily defended with just the one ramp. Now, there is a lot of space between the two bases, so mutalist play could come in handy here if he runs the mutas and harass these probes, and then transfers down to the natural to harass them there. So, I don't know what's going to happen. We do have the pylon going down at the right time for Zorak. He is currently building more probes, while the third player, Clutch, is building more drones. I'm wondering if he's going for a standard 15 hatchery followed by a spawning pool, or is he going to get the pool first. Now, you sometimes want to do that, especially on a map where the rush distance between the two bases is so small, to get an early spawning pool, because if Zorak decided to go gateway here instead of a forge, he could get an early zealot out there before the spawning pool's up, which could do subs damage before the game essentially even starts, but looks like that's not going to be the case, as he is dropping a forge at 13. Now, we have the probe over here delaying the expansion. He's actually decided to drop a pylon. Now, this is really annoying as a Zerg player, considering he has more than enough minerals to build both his hatchery and his spawning pool. However, I don't think he realizes that, and he's decided to send this drone to build a hatchery over here instead. Now, he could follow this up with a triple expansion, but still, this probe has done its job by just delaying the expansions. Now, this pylon he does let finish, so he probably will be losing that very soon here, as the spawning pool is underway. Now, going on at the Protoss base is absolutely nothing. He's actually stopped probe production in order to save up enough minerals for a nexus, but he decides to drop a cannon instead. Now, this is I think smart thinking on him, although it does put him behind in his economy slightly, considering he is down on down on workers right now, and his spawning pool and the Zerg spawning pool is almost finished. He hasn't even thrown down an expansion, so this could actually, be a problem. But I haven't noticed he actually has dropped cannons. The reason he has not dropped his nexus yet is because he is cannon rushing his opponent's natural, and I don't even think he sees this here. No, wait. He doesn't even see the pylon. He doesn't even see the cannons being built. So there you have it. This probably will pay off. Although it might be a little overkill, because this pylon's going to drop soon, and this hatchery is going to be cancelled. So he has actually invested 500 resources to delay the expansion even further. Now, that would be a big deal if he had already started building his expansion, but that is not the case. Third player now has a lot of money in the bank, and he can easily drop another 2 expansions if he wanted to. We'll see what he decides to do. I think this drone is actually going to build a hatchery over here, and once these get cleaned up, actually, he's just going to keep denying him with more cannons. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to pay off, because, once again, his natural hasn't even started yet. So, he doesn't even have a gateway finish. He has 1 cannon defending here. If the Zerg player cranks out a lot of Zerglings in the next couple minutes, he could actually flood this base before a Zealot and before more cannons are dropped. Let's see if that's what's the case here. And we will find out probably very quickly, as the Zerglings have spawned. He is moving out with the Zerglings. We'll see where he's going. I think he might be... He's actually scouting. As you can see, he hasn't even scouted initially. So he has... Wait, no, he has gotten his Overlord over here. My bad. So I'm not sure why he's running these drones, or it's probably going to stop this probe from building more pylons and cannons. Now, the natural is finally underway for Zorak, but he's only sitting at 17 drones, I believe. Yes, 17 drones to 20, 17 workers to 20, so he is behind in the income tab quite a bit, and Clutch is amassing a large bank right now. Now, considering he's Zerg, he could probably drop more hatcheries. He doesn't have the larva to spend that money right now. There's no chance of spending it in the next minute or so, so if I was him, I would be dropping a couple more hatcheries around the map. And I'd also be worrying about an air attack, considering he hasn't seen much at his opponent's base. I believe he has just seen the the gateway finishing. So yeah, there we go. Yep, he hasn't even seen the gateway being built, so I think he might be alright here, considering there is no core on the way. Now, this is a very untraditional game, considering both are going for a macro-oriented build, focusing on economic forces early. Zorak has kind of thrown a wrench into the mix by building proxy cannons at both his bases, both his opponent's expansions. Now, he compensated by putting 2 more expansions down here, which are complete and will be beginning production shortly, so Clutch is going to fall further ahead in the income tab, and we'll see what's going to happen, because right now it's probably just a macro as the Nexus for Zorak is done. And let's see, he's building a Stargate, so he's opening with a Stargate for his production. He is getting the Warp Gate research, always helpful. And while the Zerg is still working on his expansions, he is building queens. He's building a Roach Warren for early defense, but that's not going to really cut it if he gets a couple Void Rays out by Zorak. So we'll see if he masters up the air defense. Now, at this stage in the game, he probably should have an extra set of queens at each of his bases right now, because this is the time where a air attack from the Protoss can really mess up a Zerg's day, especially with going on these early expansion builds. Now, these 2 expansions being on this side of the map could prove pretty deadly, as the majority of his forces are probably going to be right here for the Zerg. Now, an air attack coming from this side, these forces would have to traverse the entire way of the map in order to defend it. So Phoenixes could be very effective here and could probably kill all the queens at each of the bases and several overlords. However, Clutch is deciding to build a lot of drones and a lot of roaches, just while our Protoss has built a Void Ray. Now the Void Ray might be seeing some early attacks, or maybe he's just gearing that up for some early defense, because a Roach Rush right here could get through. There's only 2 Zealots and 2 Pylons. If you depower these Pylons, the Roaches could run right in here, but the Void Ray with the extra armor versus alright, this Pylon gets taken off. This cannon will be taken off soon, but the as I was saying, the Void Ray with extra damage to armor will prove pretty effective if an attack is coming. Protoss player throws down another Stargate followed by a Pylon. He's doing a good job of not keeping himself supply blocked at this point, but that could change quickly as there are 2 more Pylons over here and another Pylon over here. So he is actually doing a good job prepping for that by having the Pylon complete. Another Void Ray is underway with air weapons level 1. Now that's pointing towards a Sky Toss build, considering there's 2 gateways. He's gotten the air upgrade, so we're probably seeing a Sky Toss army from him. While our Zerg opponent has just finished his lair and is building a Hydralisk Den. He does have double Evo chambers producing upgrades. He is currently working on 1-1 right now, and an infestation pit is also being built, which means he could be going for an early early hive tech, or he could be grabbing some infestors or swarm hosts. Now at this stage of the game, I'm not sure if swarm hosts would be good here, considering the Void Rays are already on the field, but Hydralisk with swarm hosts can be pretty deadly in this stage in the game, when you know the Protoss player is only working on 2 bases and you are working on 3, and all of the bases have healthy saturation. You could get these drones on gas, because that is going to pretty essential to the units coming up, although he has a pretty substantial economic lead over his opponent. And if you take a look at the units lost tab, yeah, well, he's using Lunas now, but that was a pretty costly cannon rush for his for Zorak. He delayed the expansions by a minute or 2, but he just lost 950 resources on that. So we'll see if that can well, not 950. There was a probe killed earlier, but we'll decide that. He lost a lot of resources, close to 1,000, to delay those expansions, which is all for naught because he didn't follow it up early enough, and the Zerg player has a huge economic lead, and this is the point where his army value is just going to skyrocket. As you can see, the army supply is already favoring him, and most of it is in Hydras and Roaches with a couple Zerglings in the mix, but a lot of workers. So, and we do have swarm hosts, so we will be seeing those on the field. And the creep spread by this player is almost non-existent at this point, which could prove costly later in the game. He should probably build another queen here and start spreading the creep. But you know, we're not all pros, neither am I. I'm just pointing out that you need creep to be connecting at least your approximate bases, like not even here, in order to defend against counterattacks. So what he could do with his overlord is start pooping out. Well, that's an overseer now, but if it was an overlord, he could start pooping out some goo here, and then builds a couple spore crawlers and follow it up with the swarm host. But he's still building some hydras. I think he realizes he has the lead in the economy. Now he just needs to follow it up with a large lead in the army. And the Protoss player is still going straight Void Rays. He does have +2 attack on the way, and the +2 is underway for the Zerg as well. So this is just been a lot of macro recently. So I'm wondering what's going to happen. I believe this many hydras could make a dent into this many Void Rays. They probably could actually kill them in a straight-on engagement. Going up this ramp, that's not going to be the case, especially with the cannons there and the zealots to defend. Now, I'm wondering if he's going to set up some sort of contain here with his swarm hosts, which are actually not in his army. As you can see, he was only built 2 of them, and he might... Where are those 2 swarm hosts? They're actually at his other base defending, and we have attack going underway. The Void Rays have moved out, only being up by the Hydralisk. There is too many Void Rays to do the Hydras to do anything against this army. It's just the Roaches left, and these Void Rays will tear them apart. Now, Zorak is in a good position to win the game here, although there are several Hydralisks underway. 21 at a time. That is a lot of Hydralisks. They all spread all over the map, and unless he amasses them accordingly, this attack is going to do substantial damage to his main base. Now, they are just about to spawn, and most of them are actually at his second and third base, so this could prove to be pretty effective for Zorak. The first few Hydralisks go in, they take out 1 Void Ray, they're focusing down the second, the Queen gets in the action, 1 other Void Ray falls, there's 5 left versus a handful of Hydras, there's a Transfuse on the Hydra, and that's going to go down, another Transfuse, keeping that 1 Hydra alive, taking out another Void Ray. The reinforcements are streaming in, but they are just too late, as more and more Void Rays are arriving in the main base. There's 1 Queen to defend this. Absolutely nothing else on the way, and more Hydras are being built, however, and he will probably be able to hold off once these reinforcements get here. Now, he's going straight for the Hydralisk den, which is going to prevent any more reinforcements from coming in. The Void Rays are focusing down the layer. I think they'll be able to do it before these Hydralisks can make it. There is no creep to assist them. They are taking out 1 Void Ray, except they decided just to go for the defense. And the layer will fall, and these drones are running for their lives. Now, these Void Rays will most likely be picked off by this Hydralisk, losing the majority of them, and he currently only has 2 Void Rays on the field. 4 Void Rays on the field. Now, if you look at the army supply, Clutch is in a great position to win the game here. He has the majority of his forces in Hydralisk, which are great against Void Rays, and he's going against 4 Void Rays and 2 Zealots. So he should really attack here. Let's see if that's exactly what he is doing. Although he's turned around by the constant harassment of these 2 Void Rays, they are going for the next base, which is morphing into a lair, or mutating into a lair. And he should probably attack here. He has a larger army than his opponent. Now, taking out that lair attack did set him back if he wanted to go for a hive. But let's be honest here, it's 24 Hydras versus 5 Void Rays. Now that can easily take it out. He should move out. I think he's just worried about a Void Rays coming in and taking out his next lair. And he should probably mutate another layer or 2, and maybe drop another base. I mean, he's floating tons of minerals. Actually, both of our players are floating tons of minerals, as at this stage in the game, with 2,300 resources underway, you need to be dropping more Stargates, more gateways. He's actually transitioned into carriers right now. No, he has built the fleet beacon, he is working on more Void Rays, he has just dropped his 3rd, but still, he is really behind in the economy, and the Zerg player has a large army to deal with +2/+2 upgrades, and these Void Rays are not going to be able to cut it. So right now, the forces stand at 7 Void Rays and 2 Zealots versus 34 Hydralisks. If only Clutch would attack, he probably could win the games. Considering his opponent has just expanded, he's going to be running out of minerals on his main soon, and his natural soon to follow. While the Zerg's economy is still looking strong, these bases have a lot of minerals, this one is just getting started, and there's a little left at his main, so he should really work out an attack here. He has the larva to spend, he has the money to spend, he is currently supply blocked, but he will be maxed out very shortly. And the Protoss player, however, has tons of minerals, but he does not have the structures to produce them right now, considering, I believe he's working off of 2 Stargates. Yes, he's working off of 2 Stargates for his unit production, yet he has 3,000 minerals. So, drop more Stargates. If you're a Protoss player and you are in this position, drop more Stargates, drop more gateways. You have 1 gateway. You could build 10 gateways and get out more units. You could spend all that money right now, but he's just not deciding to do that. There is another gateway finishing, and minor attacks going on up here. The Void Rays are being fended off again by this Hydralisk. Now, I have to admit, Zorak is doing a great job of preventing this Hydralisk army from moving out, because he knows as soon as he does this, these Void Rays are going to snipe this lair, and that could be pretty costly. It's going to prevent any more higher tech units for the Zerg player. So, however, he is approaching maxed out, though, and a straight on engagement, he would destroy anything that his opponent has. But that's not going to happen here, as we can see. So his third for Zorak is finally complete, and he's transferring over workers, getting good full saturation, but that's because his main is down. He should probably drop at least another Nexus, probably 2, because he knows his opponent is at least 4 bases. As we can see, an attack is moving across the map of Void Rays towards these bases, and there's absolutely nothing here to defend. Not spreading creep is really going to hurt Clutch in this engagement, because he's not going to be able to get his already maxed out army of Hydras across the map to defend this. Now, this is unfortunate. The Swarm hosts are moving across. The Void Rays are spotting them and are taking them down. Clutch doesn't even realize it, as he loses 4 of the 5 Swarm hosts, and soon the next. Now, you have to realize that the Protoss player has no detection whatsoever, besides a couple photon cannons. Now, if you converted that supply loss into Swarm host and then attack, that could prove very costly, but it looks like he's deciding to move out instead, as the Void Rays probably are going to kill everything here. I don't think he cares. He knows it's going to happen, but he's just relying on his army being so much higher than his opponent, which is at right now. So it's currently 97 to 70. The resources are in the Zerg's favor, which is almost never, considering the cheap units are very cheap. He's attacking right now, taking out 1 pylon, going for the Zealots. Zealots die. He's moving up the ramp. He is taking out the cannons. I believe Zorak is going to regret not having his base, although there is quite a massive fleet of carriers. 4 carriers with proper micro might be able to make something happen here, but however, I don't think he has it in him. They take out another pylon, buildings are depowering, the Hydras are going for that carrier, they manage to take it off, there's only 3 carriers left. The Voiders on the other side of the map killing off absolutely everything. The Hydras are taking out these carriers though. They are having free reign in this main base, destroying all the pylons, most of the tech structures. However, these Void Rays are out for the kill. I believe they're going straight for the opponent's main base. These carriers are doing a great job of defending them off. However, he's only lost 1 of them so far. The second one probably going to fall now, as that movement speed upgrade for these Hydralisks is pretty powerful in Heart of the Swarm. The carrier's moving in for another attack. They send out the interceptors, but there's not enough they can do here. Zorak is going to lose a lot in this attack, as it is the majority of his base. Now, as you look at the army supply, it has evened up, but is still favoring the Zerg player. However, these Void Rays are going to town on the main base of the Zerg, and right now, I think it's just a good old-fashioned base race. However, these carriers are doing a great job at picking apart this Hydralisk armor. As you can see, it's kind of whittled to a smaller size. Yeah, it keeps reducing, so we'll see if they can actually defend here, as I believe they're just killing off buildings. They are going for the old-fashioned base raid. This will end up in Clutch's favor, considering he has a more bank than his opponent. He already has the other bases constructed. What he needs to do is start building more production. But if these Void Rays run into these Hydras, they will kill them, unless the carriers can do some fancy stuff. Now, this base goes down. All the probes are annihilated as they are ran into that army. That is not smart for them, but that's just a dumb AI. Now, the Void Rays have finished off the majority of these main bases, but they can't really finish it off because these Spore Claws will do substantial damage. and I believe he has decided to turn around and defend his last remaining expansion. So we'll see what happens here, and right now there's no production going on for the Zerg, which is bad. You should probably start killing stuff. These carriers move in and are marked properly. They're going to pick off a roach or two. One roach goes down, the Void Rays sandwich them in. However, the Hydras are too much. The Void Rays are falling. He pulls them off the tack. The carriers, on the other hand, are destroying this army from behind. He loses one carrier. This could be it. This is a very small Hydra army versus this many Void Rays. I don't think he can do it. And quite amazingly, the Sc2 army destroys the Hydras. He has nothing left. That was his army. He has a 4 army supply. Wow, that was amazing. Here, let's go back just a bit here. So, before this engagement, it was 2 carriers and 9 Void Rays versus 23 Hydras. Now, in the army supply, that is favoring Clutch, the Zerg, but in the active forces supply, that is slightly favoring the Protoss player. However, Hydras do extremely well against small numbers of carriers and small numbers of Void Rays. But going forward slightly, we can see that when the engagement finally happens, as you can see, when the engagement finally happens, let's see, here it is. Zorak does an excellent job of microing his carriers to distract the Hydras while the Void Rays are coming in from the side, and he has been able to do a lot of damage with these carriers while they're distracted on the Void Rays. Void Rays are going down, but these carriers are destroying the army apart from behind. That almost evens it up, although one carrier has fallen. Too many Hydras have fallen as well. There's not a big enough army here to defeat this army. So there you have it. That's the game. That's how you win a Sc2. I can't really say he ended with the late game Sc2 because his army supply never really got that high, but I do believe we will be seeing a GG here shortly, as there is nothing left, nothing being produced except extractors for Clutch. He has no offensive units, minus 4 Zerglings and a Roach. He does have a lot of bases up, but there's just going to be killed very, very shortly by these Void Rays and 1 carrier. So that was excellent micro by the Protoss player. A little bit of, I'm a little surprised that that actually happened, considering he was behind in a lot of aspects of this game, in army value, army supply, and in income, yet he managed to come back with some sweet micro and Void Ray carrier to win the game. I don't think there's anything Clutch can do at this point. So we're just going to let this unfold. The Void Rays are doing a great job destroying it. Now, he does have a $10,000 bank, but he's just dropping his spawning pools now. He's not going to have a lair attack. He could drop tons of spore crawlers, which is what he should do, but his opponent's going to be... Oh, there you have it. He just left the game. I think he realized there was no option. So that was a Zerg versus Protoss on the North American ladder. These are both gold players, and I hope you enjoyed watching. I did. And go out there and get your game on. Thank you for watching.